Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Wednesday. It is Mercury's Day, and learning more about doing charts and astrology, and learning about the decans, which I find fascinating because there's always layers upon a layer within astrology, and I love that learning process. I love that it just gives me more and more of a clarification of what we as a world, as society, is doing. And when I was watching my one of my Zoom videos, or that of a class I'm taking, and watching that this morning, and how taking today and where Uranus is, and this is how cool it is, where Uranus is, and then you have the sign Taurus, and then each one is broken up into a decade, and within that decade is a different energy of another planet within that sign. And then you have another layer on top of that, because whatever is correlating to because Taurus is Earth, the other Earth signs. So, and you break that up into three. So looking at where the energies are within, and I'm going to talk about Uranus today, because Uranus is a unique planet. He goes, he orbits his own little way and turns and twists. He's a beautiful blue color, which maybe that's because I'm teaching the blue flame tonight. But it's that energy of disruption, the energy of change that he brings in. And he does that every time he hits Taurus, or any time he hits any particular planet. But especially with Taurus, I mean, there is that energy of change that is coming in, right? And if memory serves, I think I'm a Leo decade 3 or 4. And then that's broken down into whatever planet that is, So anyways, I haven't gotten there yet. That's all coming. But with Uranus, what we were talking about this morning was how Uranus, where he is right now, and he's at and where Mercury is. So Mercury's coming out of its shadow. So Mercury's coming out of that beautiful shadow. It's been 6 weeks, like 2 months of him in this shadow energy, right? Going all the way back to just, about 16 degrees, and coming up to 23, and now he's at 24. And how Mercury's coming out, and as he's coming out, there's information that is being coming forward. So information that's coming forward with that, with the energy, and the information that's coming forward is almost where people are, they don't want to hear the energy. They don't want to hear the information. The information, there's a lot there that's coming forward. And even where Venus is, so we'll bring in Leo. Yes, the Venus, where Venus is telling us that, is this really, the truth? Is this really, are you sure this is what they're talking about? Or is this true, what you're saying? And Uranus, and as he's moving into and getting closer to the 14th degree of Taurus, what happens there is then he's entering into Jupiter, and everybody thinks, oh, well, Jupiter's great. But Jupiter in the Taurus with Uranus there brings in information, information that is, I'm going to bringing in information that is large, and it also has to do with society. So bringing in information that is affecting the world, affecting everyone, affecting, how we think, what we do, and the processes that we go through. And as we look at the information that comes in, and how it is sometimes, well, usually with Uranus, when it comes in there, I'm just going to move my book over here. When it comes in, It's disruptive. It's disruptive. And Uranus in Taurus is disruptive. It is disrupting us to take a look at of what is the deeper meaning, what is the deeper emotional meaning to the information that's coming through. And it comes into about purging and toxic and environment. So there's a lot to do with environment that comes in, a lot to do with toxicity that comes in, and bringing that, it's almost like, like vibrating all of this to the top, and looking at what is being vibrated to the top. Because you don't, this is where coming into our awareness, coming into what we are needing to awaken to. And with that, as we are as we're being asked to awaken, as we are asked to look at it more into the collective energy, Mercury is coming in and saying, are you receiving the information that you need to receive? Are you putting it in action within your life and putting it into order, in some form of order? Now, just reading what Candace is saying. Candace says, it's funny because I could see that decade as a child, but have outgrown a lot of what's written. I think it's an inner healing. Yes, definitely. Definitely. But, if you're at 3 or 4 degrees of a Leo, that means that you're just learning to be, especially where your sun is. So wherever your sun is, whatever sign it's in, that's what you're learning. You're learning to be whatever that sign is about. That's part of your journey upon this earth, and learning about it and taking it. And it, depending on where you are, you're sort of in the new beginnings of that learning of it. So if you're at the later ends of being in that sign, then you're almost, have learned a lot. You've come through a lot, and you're coming near the end of whatever challenges and information that you've needed to come into, so that you can move on or ascend or enlighten more to people, right? So there's a lot that has to do, and it's in your 12th house, so it's secrets. A lot to do with secrets. 12th house is secrets. So you should take an astrology course, Candace. Like, really get into astrology to really understand. I mean, the beautiful thing, and this is what I'm finding, is like the more I'm learning about the astrology, the more I'm understanding my own chart. The more I understand my own chart, the more I understand myself, and sort of the little nuances of me and how I respond to things. Certain things that are within the blueprint of your chart, that's your blueprint, right? That's what you came in with. That's who you are. And you learn to work with it, and you learn to grow with it and adapt with it and accept it. And there's some parts there that were, for me, my, Saturn has always squared my sun. Sun squared Saturn is not a fun aspect. And when people get hit by it, which they have been in this last, with the sun squaring, and a lot of people have been getting hit with that, and they're not used to it. So it's like, it's disruptive, it's overwhelming, it has to do with health. Right now we have the Mars energy coming in, which has to do a lot to do with inflammation. There's a lot of inflammation, so people might be feeling their joints, arms, I've been having, with my wrists and my ankles, so a lot of joint issues there. So that's coming in. So there's a lot of this, when you start looking at the planets and you start really diving into where they are, and we'll go, as I'm looking into Uranus, it's showing me that, okay, when Uranus is in Taurus, what's the history? What happens every time Uranus is in Taurus? Not looking at any of the other aspects, just Uranus, right? And looking at Uranus in Taurus. And whereas a good place to learn. Well, I was just doing planetary mapping. I'm one person. There's many teachers out there. You got to find who you feel aligned to. I mean, I learned from the Leo King and Pele, right? I'm picking up on someone's liver. I actually wondering if it's one of my own, one of my cats. Could be. My liver's fine. So this is where, um, I mean, there's so many different astrologers out there. There's Rick Levine, there's Anne Ortley, there's, it's all comes down to personality. Comes down. There's Hora astrology, and there's a lovely guy, man from the Bahamas, um, and lovely guy, a little bit. I think it's this Taurus Gemini energy that I can listen to him for a while, but then I have to take him in doses, because he's very very interesting. So it goes down with me. I love to work with people who are like a Leo energy or like a fire energy. Like Rick Levine is Aries, so I love his energy. Although he can get very philosophical. So if you're not into the philosophical and getting and diving down deep holes, then he might not be the right one. There's beautiful ones like Donna Woodwell. She's interesting. She's got a lot to do with shamanic. She's just hosting a class now. And I have her book. And she just does, and she has some really great classes and beginner classes too. So there's some really fabulous astrologers that are out there. But it's also finding ones that you align to, because just like any teacher, not all teachers align with you. Baka Goldsmith is another beautiful teacher, and she lives in New Zealand right now. There's so many, and these are a lot of people that I follow myself. Baka also she channels the Palladians, right? So there's a channeling of the Palladians. Pam Gregory is another fabulous astrologer. She's from England. Nadia Shah, I don't like Nadia Shah. She gets on my nerves. Just something about her and her energy, but a lot of people love her. I mean, she gets into different types of astrology. So there's many out there. It's getting out there and investigating, looking at some of their YouTube videos and what they teach and how you feel aligned to them. Stormy Grace is another one. She's really cool. So she's another really great astrologer. So there's some really good ones out there. I mean, there's like so many. There's thousands of astrologers out there. So, and it's finding who you feel aligned to and learning from them. There's another an astrologer. I think where is she from? But she does diamond astrology, which is very new. So finding just the alignment. Me, I go, I like to do predictive astrology and intuitive astrology. And that's mainly, I go with intuitive astrology because that's where I oh yeah, he was, but it was handled, and then a lot of the claims came out to be false. But he still continued doing what he's doing, still has his following. It was somebody who was quite upset with him for other circumstances. So, and the other thing too is that astrology can be very political on how people learn and where you learn and the whole bit. So it can get very political with it. I just like to go off and do my own thing. That's how I've learned. I've learned from Pele. I love him. I think I love his energy. And how he teaches is another, is a very cool way. And yeah, there's just so many, and there's a lot of great masters out there who've done a lot for astrology and who've come, and I mean, if for putting it up online, I mean, that's a huge one to getting astrology. You very rarely find astrologers who will actually draw it out, because why why am I drawing it out now when I could just I can get solar fire, and solar fire is going to bring it up, right? I hate when people get political when it comes to the form of divination. Yeah, but the thing is yeah, well, astrology is a little different. It's not like tarot. It's not like scrying. Um, Astrology was a science and was part of astronomy for years, like for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So astrology has a science to it. And you do have people who've been doing it for 40, 50 years, and it's very much, when you get into it is mathematical, because you have the degrees, you have geometry in it, you have the different angles and everything else that formulate within the sky and how they line up, and the interpretations when it comes to doing and working with the signs. And same with, as we go back to astrology, as we go back to Uranus has a history of every time he's in Taurus, of the type of energy that comes forward with Uranus in Taurus. And usually it has to do with a lot of changes when it comes to the mundane world, the fixed mundane world. So it has to do with money, it has to do with relationships, it has to do with medical, and how that affects the consciousness and how it affects everyone. And this is where Uranus is. He's coming into a place where we can go back, 80 plus years or so, to when he was there in 1937 and 1938. What was going on? There was tuberculosis vaccinations that were coming through, and that was sort of on the new edge of when it comes to vaccinations. And Hitler was taking it to a new front with the tuberculosis vaccinations. And just yesterday, Biden just was saying how he wants to begin to bring in the vaccinations to community and door to door. Very similar to that of what Hitler did in that time era, right when Uranus is in very the same degree. So when you see things like that, you sort of go, interesting, right? And you start to look at, okay, what was going on? What was happening? What other aspects are going on that are similar, that we need to be aware of when it comes into our surroundings, into our consciousness, into the world around us? So things that are coming into our awareness, things that are coming around to us, things about affinity groups, sounds like a cool group to be about, but affinity groups are groups about racism. And what is that all about? Well, we're seeing very similar things that are happening in the world around us. Very similar things were happening in that time era, in a prelude in around 1937, 1938, and going into the 40s. So we're seeing a trend of similar energies that are coming forward. We're having a little bit different aspects with them. So we're having where Venus is coming in and she's saying, hey, what's going on? Did you hear this? This upsets me. I don't like this. I want to make a change. I want to make a new structure with this. Hence her conversation with Saturn. And Pluto is like, Pluto's coming in, and Pluto's in Capricorn. So Pluto's like, yeah, we do, but you got to look at all this other things that need to be healed within the mundane world. Because he's in the cardinal sign, he's in Capricorn, and the cardinal sign is an earth sign. Capricorn's an earth sign. So we know there's a lot of healing that has to come in to the earth, taking a more look at how we are taking care of the earth, taking care of our world environmentally. So environmental issues start to arise with this energy. And this brings in where we have Jupiter, Jupiter wants to expand and bring in the big ideas. What are the big ideas? Let us start to implement some big ideas. What are they? And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's when we start to really look at what are these ideas that are being implemented? What are the things that we need to start doing? That's where this energy starts to come in. And even with up here in Canada, for those who are in Canada, when people are talking about the res and water, okay, that's a big idea. Well, it's not like money hasn't been given to that. It's like, where has the money gone to that? Like, where did it go? What? So we have to start looking at a bigger picture. How are we going to create something that is more harmonious, something that is stepping away and taking a stand when it comes to manipulation, when it comes to fraudulent actions towards other people, and in order to create a change that is more of a harmonious alignment of a change. And that's where the energies come in, because it's going to show you both sides. It's going to show you both sides. And it's, because in comes the Libra energy, which is saying, okay, I'm going to show you both sides. Well, how are you going to balance this all out? And then the moon, because it's in a 30-degree orb, so 30 degrees from where it is from the sun, as it gets closer to the sun at 30 degrees, that's the balsamic phase. So we have the balsamic phase of the moon in Gemini, will be coming closer to the sun in Cancer. Hence, we'll have a new moon on Thursday, tomorrow. So the moon's going to come in and it's going to get snuggly with the sun. So we have this energy of wanting to make something new, wanting to create a nuance, a new way of thinking, a new way of being. And how is that going to be harmonious, not only for ourselves, but for those around us? How are we going to come in where we're not getting caught up into the woke society and wanting to pull out segregation in a new way? And how we can bring in that of the love and the harmony that is being shown to us that is there. And this is where Uranus comes in, because he shakes it up. He gets us to look at things in a new way. He gets us to feel things in a new way and say, hey, have you done all the work? Oh, you haven't? Well, and Pluto's like, really? Well, hey, let me just torture you for a little while longer until you awaken. And that's where this energy is coming in. It is an awakening energy to awaken us to the world around us, to awaken us to the harmonies and the vibrations. And not everything that you see you will agree with or you will like. But that's where you start using your discernment. That's where you start, taking that step back and saying, well, how can we make a difference with this? Is there somebody already making a stand? Can I help? Can I help them out? There's many organizations that are popping up that are very grassroots, that are looking at our educational system and taking stands within our educational system and saying, hey, that's not what we want taught in our schools. And so parents are beginning to speak out. Others are speaking out for their medical well-being. This doesn't make sense, and nor am I going to, be pushed into doing something that does not feel right to me. So there's a lot of, positive grassroots energies that are starting, but we just have to start looking for them and allowing our voices to be heard and taking a stand and saying, no, this is not what I agree with. This is not what feels right to me. This is not in harmony or in part of what I would like to be a part of. And that's where Uranus steps in, because he wants you to step into your uniqueness, into your weirdness, into that part of you that, not everybody might agree with, not everybody will like, and that's okay. That's okay. Because as he comes into this energy with Jupiter, it is looking at, okay, you know what? this is where I need to start working on it, because also with Jupiter and as Jupiter and Uranus come in and with those big ideas, it's been in history that is taking away rights, taking away your rights, taking away, you think that's okay, I'll just play along with it, but you slowly start to see things disintegrate around you. So they're showing you the heavens. They're saying to you, look it, this has happened before. Are you noticing, or are you playing along with the same scenario that has happened before? Are you coming into the same sabotage energy that has sabotaged you in your own personal life? So take a look around at what's going on within your world and say, hey, this is not the road I want to take. So now I need to make the changes in my own self so I don't go down that road again. So I don't have those issues again. And that's where we're at today. So there is a huge awakening. I did post some of the conjunctions and everything up on my Facebook page. So you can take a look there to see what some of the energies are, and go from there. So let me see. What did I write? I wrote a few things. Going to my notes. So we are coming up to that Venus in Leo, and she's going to be doing a sissy squad to Pallas Athena. What does that mean? Pallas Athena's in Pisces. So when Pallas Athena's in Pisces, she's great because you can kind of reason with her. You know, she's in Pisces. She's sort of swimming along. She's in the ether. She's like, yeah, she's not so feisty and wanting to fight. So when the goddess of love has what she thinks is a wonderful idea, but the goddess of wisdom may disagree. So she's going to, confer and discuss and give you some strategies. So that's what's the thing that, with Pallas Athena, she says, maybe that's not what you should be doing at this time. Let's take a few other angles and take a look at it, because Athena is willing to discuss them right now. And with Pluto coming in, this is a power struggle. He wants, with the sun, there's a little bit of a power struggle. So don't take it personally. It's not about you. It's about them. So feel the pressure and do your thing anyways. So integrity comes in. So we have the energies of integrity that are saying, hey, you know what? Not everybody's going to agree with what you're going to do. And maybe you feel this is truly what you do want to do. So continue on. Continue on. And when you do that, you're going to find that, communication passes, the shadow. So the god of communication, Mercury, comes in and he's talking to Eris, and Eris just wants to, and he starts to feel annoyed about what's been going on. So words are spoken in anger. So we might find that as we go on our day and things happen, somebody might provoke you. All right. And you're just like, So look for the underlying truth of the words that are spoken. So you're not taking it on, because there's an opportunity for deep healing and creativity for us to be able to expand and encourage and encourage others and encourage ourselves so that we can live in the world that we are wanting to create. And in doing so, we can't turn the blinders on. We can't close the curtains. We still have to be aware of what is happening so we can prepare ourselves, so we are able to educate ourselves so that we can have those conversations with people and maybe even help to guide them in a new direction so that they can live more of their beautiful light energetic world instead of living in the darkness. Because there's people out there who all they want to do is condemn or put down and say it's evil. I mean, I understand that lovely Doreen Virtue's on the warpath again of demonizing astrology and shamanism and people who and you know what I think is so funny about that is that her son has taken up her work, is working with the angels. He's still teaching angel empowerment classes. Like he's still doing, him and his wife are still doing their thing. you know, and they have taken on this multi-million-dollar industry and is still going forth with it. And she's on the opposite end of it. And, so even in families, that opposite end. So she's taking this very cynical, negative look at the world on how all of this is evil and it's all false, and there's no justification for it. So we're seeing that, and there's quite a push for that narrative to come out. But that's where you got to come in with your objective, and that's where you got to come in and really, trust in your creative energy and what and allowing for you to look at, what, there's a little bit of scar tissue is there. There's a lot of wounds, and understanding how it becomes your power. And as Mercury leaves his shadow, it heightens awareness of the power of words. The words have power. So this is heightening how, what, there's a lot of injury, there's a lot of pain within us, that this is a time for us to really heal and go forward, and time to focus on our dreams and really look at what do you want to create in your future. So this is to make the timelines, commit to the plan, and start stepping forward towards that, because that's what Uranus wants. Uranus wants you to create that in a very new, funky way, in a new way that gives you your vibration and allows you to stand in your uniqueness and not become one of the drones. So quite a complex type of energy today, but I love it when we bring in other aspects of the astrology into the chart and understanding it in a deeper level of what is going on. So laughter, fun, joy is encouraged. Put on some music. This is like, try something new that you haven't tried. Maybe there's a new drink that you want to try. Maybe it's that new, I don't know, they got a funnel cake frappuccino. So maybe you want to try that 1,000-calorie funnel cake frappuccino with 4 friends. So it had taken the whole 1,000 calories on. Or there's some kind of new food, or Thai food, or German food, or Greek food, or something that you haven't tried before, that you're saying, you know what, maybe today's the day that this is what I want to try. So step out and try something new and that you haven't tried before. And that's going to bring in like, maybe I like it. Maybe I don't. Or, oh, this was really too good. Maybe I shouldn't have tried it. So I'm going to send you guys out so much love. Today is, I start the tapping into your power with your blue flame. And I really encourage people, if you are wanting to make those changes in your life, if you're wanting to change your pain into power, this is a class for you. This is where we're taking and we're doing steps into saying, where people may not like what you've always done, but then you find out, holy shit, that's really what I love to do. Others may not like what I'm doing. Others may not like to do this, but I love it. I have a girlfriend who just loves programming and writing code. She just gets off on it. She just loves it. She loves doing things with websites and everything else. Other people find it exhausting and overwhelming, but she has a thing with numbers and putting code together and seeing patterns. That's her thing. That's cool. So honoring that, and that could be creating your whole new flame for yourself. So if you're wanting more information, get a hold of me or go to thegurumama.com and you can register there if you wish. Book in a spiritual coaching class or spiritual coaching session, and let's connect and take a look at that beautiful chart, and let's dive deep. So my bookings, I'm going to be asking people to go through thegurumama.com to do some bookings if they want, because you can book right there. The calendar comes right up, and you can book online if you wish. Definitely still get a hold of me. But all my prices and everything are now up on thegurumama.com. And that means, yes, there has been an increase in pricing. So take a look. It's there. And may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless you in all that you say and all that you be and all that you do. Have a blessed one. Stand in your light. Find your uniqueness and follow those breadcrumbs. Blessings, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.